So now that we have laid out our ceiling, or our roof rather, and our floor, we're going to start tackling the walls. So I think what I would like to do is tackle everything in the Z axis first. So I am going to go through and do that. And remember, we can tackle things like this. If the preview is just way too distracting, you know, we can turn all that stuff off. So you just uncheck certain things and you don't have to worry about it. So I'm clicking tab. I'm going to do the inside of the door. And you know what else I'm going to do? I am going to do this area as well. Now the other thing we can do is we can press Shift and double click, and that's going to select this whole area here. Now you'll notice I've not selected any of these beveled areas that are in the Z axis. I don't want to select those. We're going to lay those out separately. And we're going to go to tab here and we're going to lay out this. Now, if you want, you can get this area. Might as well do it now. This area of the roof line, it is going to be separate, but we can get it now. All right, so we've got our kind of gabled area of our roof, and we've got everything that is facing in the actually Z axis. So it's all in the Z axis. So we're going to go to UV planar options box, make sure we're in the Z axis and click project. And now at this point we can turn back on our shading, our preview texture, and we're going to go back to our channels box and our projection width height, put it to 20. And we'll minimize that again. All right, so let's take a look at this over here. So if we go in this box, you'll notice that everything, is kind of purple. So that means that I have overlapping UVs. So if I double click on some UVs and hit W, I can move them. Right, so we see we have these UVs, and I'm going to go to transform and scroll down to flip. Just flip those. So I have these UVs, so this looks like it goes here. And this one goes in the back. So we already know that these two areas are going to go together. So these go together. Now they don't have to be sewn together right now, but I am going to keep them kind of in relation to one another. I'm just double clicking and doing that. Okay, so this is also purple, so we know that this back piece here needs to be flipped, and so we're going to flip it. And then we have this front piece, and then we have the back here, and we have the front here. So I'm actually going to move this over here, keep these areas separate from one another, just so that I can differentiate which sides are which. All right, so now that we've done that, what we can do is we can do File Save Scene As, and I'm going to save it as another different version. I like to save and save often and save many different versions. All right, so the next side that I'm going to tackle is the X-facing sides. So once again, we can always uncheck this and we can go into wireframe mode so that we can really see kind of what's going on. Okay, goodness gracious. All right. Oh my. When I hit tab, I apologize guys, but when I hit tab, sometimes it activates, it seems to activate my window. Of course, I could also be trying to hit Alt and it's accidentally on the Windows key, which in terms of user interface, not very convenient place to put that key. Okay, so I'm going to click this and double click. click this and double click, and I have the whole frame of the window facing in the X. So that was pretty easy. And I'm going to go over here and I'm going to shift, double click, shift, double click, and then I'm going to go to my tab function and then just start selecting the areas that I want to project. All right, there we go. So it looks like we have all of that, all of those sides too, which is fantastic. And we're going to turn back on our texture and our shading. And we are going to make it so you guys can see the change. We're going to go to UV, planar options box, and this time in the X. And we are going to project. And then we're going to go to our channels box and make our projection width and height the same as everything else. Save, Control S to save. Let's double click here to see what we have. Okay, so we've got this side, which I'm going to flip. And we've got this side. And then you'll notice that we also have our windows and window casings. So I will make these have rhyme and reason to them. I will, I promise. But for now, I'm just kind of moving things out of the way just to kind of see what I have. Uh-oh, there we go. Okay, so those are my windows. And let's see, let's do this. Let's flip it. And flip. All right, let's save. All right, so you'll notice we have some lines here. So these lines are actually, they are UVs, but they're flattened. If you hit F over here, you can go to where those UVs are and you can find them. Hard to see, but it is right there. And this actually has a dimension to it. Having these flat lines here is really bad. So we do need to lay out all of these UVs. We also have some issues right here. If we try to, let's say we're like, oh, we're done. We're not done. But if we were like, let's go to the layout tool, and we went to tools and we went to, modify, and we went to layout, we would get this error message that says fix non-manifold geometry. And you could click this and say always fix non-manifold geometry, but because we have so many issues, what it's going to do is probably explode half of our UVs. So what's the manifold geometry? Well, it's the flattened UVs. It's the flattened geometry. It's all these straight lines. These have to have, they need to be laid out so that they look like squares or rectangles or even curves, but have depth to it and aren't just straight lines. So we're going to have to go in here and fix that. So first I'm going to do this guy. So this guy is deceptive. If I hit 4, we can really see that it actually goes throughout the entire building. Okay, but we only ever see it in the front and in the back because the roof line overlaps it the rest of the way. So that's why I double clicked on it so that we could get all of the faces. And as you can see, it's just one straight line there, which is a problem. So I'm going to go to UV's planar, y-axis, and project. And then I'm going to go to my projection width and height, and I'm going to put in 20 by 20. Okay. Now I might end up cutting this up at some point, sewing it together to certain things. But for now, what I just want to do is just make sure it's laid out and out of the way. All right, we still have manifold geometry. Some of it is this. So let's just get these two guys right here. And we're going to go to UV planar. We are going to, we're going to project it in the y-axis. We're going to go to front view. Click the little T-square here. And what we're going to do is we're going to just